Hello everyone and welcome back to another video where I'll be discussing a new deck, or rather it's a deck that's been going around called Cyber-Stein OTK, or whatever you want to call it. It's basically a deck that utilizes the Igknights to create this lock that's almost impossible to break if it goes unchecked, basically. So this is a deck that's pretty fragile to any amount of disruption, whether it be an Ash Blossom or an effect failure, infinite imperm. But if your opponent has no answer, you can just go off and pretty much prevent your opponent from playing the game. So how this deck works is that we're going to be utilizing the Ignite monsters. The Ignites are simply tutors and also our pendulum engine to grab out some the ignites that we destroy with their effects. So every ignite monster here has a pendulum effect that says if you have an ignite card in your other pendulum zone, you get to destroy both cards in your pendulum zones. And then if you do, add one fire warrior type monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So with that search effect, after the destroy to go to your extra deck face up, you will be searching for, more often than not, Sublimation Knight, unless you already have it in your hand. So Sublimation Knight right here says it's normal special summon, which will be normal summoning most of the time. You can equip one fire warrior or one Gemini monster from your hand or deck to this card as an equipped spell that gives a 500 attack. It has some other effects that are not as important right here. The first effect is the most important part. So what are we going to grab with Sublimation Knight? We are going to grab Squeak Knight. Squeak Knight is a warrior union monster that happens to be a fire attribute. It says when it's this part is not important, the special summoning part, but do not activate this part, otherwise you will be locked out of your extra deck, basically, because you can only special summon once from your extra deck if you treat this as a tuner. So do not activate this effect when you special summon it. So once per turn, just like most union monsters, you can target one face-up monster you control, you can equip it, or this is what you're going to be doing, unequip the card and special summon it. So that's the part you're going to be doing. So once you equip it with Squeak Knight, you're going to special summon Squeak Knight using his ability, and then you'll have two monsters on the battlefield, two fire warriors particularly. So what you're going to do after that is you're going to go into Isolde, Two Tales of Noble Knights. So it requires two warrior monsters for its links. If it is link summon, you get to add one warrior monster from your deck to your hand, but for the rest of the turn, you cannot normal summon, set or special summon monsters with that name, nor activate their monster effects. So you can the monster we're going to be grabbing with this is pretty much any pendulum monster that you need from your deck, any one of the ignites, so that you can do a pendulum summon. So if you have like a one with the 2 scale right here, you need one with 7, and vice versa. So that's what you're going to be grabbing most of the time with that effect. Let's see, go back to Isolde right here. Here's the second ability, which you will be activating. You can send any number of equipped spells with different names from your deck to your graveyard. Special summon one warrior monster from your deck whose level equals to the number of cards you send to the graveyard. So the equipped spell you'll be sending to the graveyard will be Telekinetic Charging Cell. This is an equipped spell, which we'll get to. We will talk about this in a moment, but you can only equip to a psychic monster, and you're wondering why we're including this deck. Ultimately, we're going to be equipping it to a Cyber-Stein, and again, I'll explain that in a moment here. So, the warrior we're going to be grabbing, actually, from our deck is Infernal Knight Reynolds. So, when it is special, it says that when it is special summoned, you can target one of your fire warrior monsters or one of your equipped spells that is banished or in a GUI, and then add it to your hand. So we're going to be grabbing Telekinetic Charging Cell to our hand. Basically, effectively, Isolde tutors for our Telekinetic Charging Cell while also throwing out another body. So that's what's going to happen. We're going to grab Telekinetic Charging Cell, and then from there, what we're going to do is we're going to do a Pendulum Summon 2 of our monsters Ignites that we destroyed earlier, and then they should be entering the battlefield where this is pointing to. So you'll summon it to the directions that's pointing to in the zones, and then after that, if you do not have Infernal Knight Reynolds, you will be you'll grab it by destroying your Ignites once again, or using one of the other tutor effects in this deck, such as Infernal Knight's Durandal. Because what we want to do is we want to special summon this from our hand, since we control a fire warrior monster, and then if it's summoned this way, it's treated as a tuner. That's important because what we do with that from there is that we're going to go into Crystron Halgifibrax because it needs a tuner. If it's linked summon, you get to special summon 1 level 3 or lower tuner from your deck, but it can't activate its effects. And everything else is not that important because what we're going to do is we're going to grab our other tuner, Righty Diver. This guy can function as substitute itself as any synchron monster. The rest of the effects are not relevant really for this deck. So with Righty Driver, we're going to tune with the appropriate level monsters on our side of the field to get into Road Warrior, a level 8 Synchro that says that needs a Road Synchro and 2 or more non-tuner monsters. So it's once per turn you can special summon 1 level 2 or lower Warrior Machine type monster from your deck. With this ability, we're going to go into Cyber-Stein. We're going to grab this guy from our deck. It will be a little awkward if it's actually in our hand, and I'm not entirely sure what happens if it is in our hand. Hopefully it is not. I think there's some other plays you can do if it is in your hand, but anyway. So let's say you special summon from your deck, right? So then we got Cyber-Stein, right? So from there, we can use Cyber-Stein to special summon one of our fusion monsters, and we're going to start going into crazy links from there. Ultimately, the idea is that we're going to link off 2 more monsters, which are going to be Isolde and a fusion monster or something else, to get Reprodocus. Reprodocus says that we can activate one of these abilities, declare 1 monster type, all monster face-up monsters this card points to becomes that type until the end of the turn. So the idea is that you want Cyber-Stein in the zone that's directly below one of the extra monster zones that's unused. So that way we can have Reprodocus pointing to our Cyber-Stein to make it a psychic type. This is where Telekinetic Charging Cell comes in. You equip the Telekinetic Charging Cell to the Cyber-Stein, so that way you do not activate any of its. You don't have to pay life points when you activate its effects. So basically, we get a bunch of fusion summons for free for the rest of the turn. And so we start spamming out a bunch of our fusion monsters here. Before I guess I'll go ahead and go into those fusion monsters. We have Thousand Eyes Restrict. This is a flex slot. You do not have to use Thousand Eyes Restrict. This can be any fusion monster really. It just happens to be one of the ones I have that has a little bit of utility. You have Last Warrior from Another Planet. This is part of the lock right here, so it is important to actually have this card. You get Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. This is, again, a flex slot. You do not need this card. It can be any level 8 fusion monster here. Wind Witch Crystal Bell is not required, but is handy because this can, if somehow your opponent does destroy Cyber-Stein or toss it in the graveyard, you can use this to make its effect become Cyber-Stein. So that way you can continue with your combo if it gets disrupted. But it's a rare, so it's easy to create. You have Supreme King, Dragon Starving Venom, and so this guy has not come up. I'm not 100% sure if this is really necessary for the deck. Naturia Exterio is important for the deck. It is one of the ways you lock your opponent out of the game. Let's see, you got 2 DDD, Super Doom, King, Purple, Armageddon. Yeah, so these are 2 level 10 Pendulum fusion monsters right here. The idea is that you're going to overlay these guys into number 35 Ravenous Tarantula, which says all monsters you control gain attack and defense equal to the difference between your life points and your opponent's. So if you activate Cyber-Stein's ability, your life points are going to be at 3,000 unless you took damage for some reason or gain life, and your opponent's probably going to be at 8,000, meaning that all your monsters are going to gain a 5,000 attack and defense boost. That is pretty insane. As a bonus right here, you can detach a material and destroy all face of monsters your opponent's control with attack less than or equal to this cards. So that's pretty crazy. Let's see. The level 8 fusion monsters in this deck really serve as overlay material so that you can get into the Dingirsu Orcus of the Evening Star. So basically, this is also a very important card. You do need to have this one. I was fortunate enough to have opened this in like a random pack one day because you'll need it for this effect. Actually, you'll need to let's see, where is it? If a card you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect. So this is to counteract the Last Word from Another Planet that says when it's special summon, destroy all other monsters you control. So basically it protects your monsters. You want to summon Last Word from Another Planet last. Once you want to summon everything you want in a turn before you play this, because once you play this, obviously you can't summon at all, period. So that's the idea right there. Let's see here. So let's go through the other cards in the deck. We have, let's see, I talked about all the Igknights basically. They effectively do the same stuff. We got the Righty Diver, Igknights, and 3 Reynolds. These guys are important. You need at least 2 copies in your deck. Cyber-Stein, again, it is the most important card in the deck because this is what this deck is all about. We have 2 copies of Max C here. I don't know why we're not running a 3rd, honestly. 3 copies of Sublimation Knight. This guy's pretty important, and quite honestly, I don't know if 3 copies is really necessary because we can consistently tutor for this guy. Let's see here. We got Upstart Goblin as just a cantrip. We have Reinforcement Armies to basically search for any of the Ignites we need, or any of the other guys that we may need to kind of complete the combo. We got Telekinetic Charging Cell, already explained that before. Summoner's Arts, basically its functions almost as the same as Reinforcement Army, except we cannot find our warrior effect monsters here. We can only find the Ignites. Infernoble Arms Durandal is pretty neat because it can help us find the warrior that we actually need, whether it's an Ignite, whether it's Infernoble Knight Reynolds, or Sublimation Knight. It can grab. It's basically a tutor for any of the monsters in our deck. And you have Draw Muscle here. It's a kind of a filler card because I don't have Call by the Grave. Call by the Grave can help protect us from the likes of Effect Failure or DD Crow or Ash Blossom, but we don't have that, so we're just running kind of like another weird cantrip. My friend told me about this. You target 1 defense position monster you control with 1,000 or less defense, draw a card. Also, that monster can be destroyed by battle its turn, so... Oh, it's gotta be a defense position monster you control. Maybe... am I gonna... Yeah, you'll be special. You can special summon your monsters in defense position, so you can... use this on them, so just keep that in mind when you're activating this card. I actually didn't see that it has to be in defense position. Let's see, I talked about all the fusions already. I talked about Road Warrior, so we're gonna go to... Oh yeah, really this is the only one I didn't talk about, Apollo, the goddess. So basically, if you have enough materials on the link materials on the board, you can go into Apollo, and that just makes it almost impossible for your opponent to crack if you also have Last Word for Another Planet. So basically, the ultimate board state is going to look like Last Word from Another Planet, Dingirsu, Naturia Exterio, let's see, and Cyber-Stein, of course. Reprodocus probably will still be around unless you decide to go into Apollo. Apollo would be more ideal. It's because, especially, and of course, oh yeah, number 35, Ravenous Tarantula. Because Ravenous Tarantula boosts the attack of all your opponents, all your monsters, Apollo basically has like a bunch of activations with its ability right here. Because it loses its 800 attack every time you activate it to negate a monster effect that your opponent controls. Alright, so that is the card by card, and best to just kind of like showcase what that can do. So I'm going to go to solo mode first to kind of demonstrate what exactly the deck can do when it's not disrupted. Whoops, that is not it. Let's see, we're going to go solo mode. Alright, we're going to go over here. Alright, we're going to go and play this, and let's go first. Let's see how the deck functions when it goes first. When you go second, if you're, again, when all your stuff is left unchecked, you can probably just OTK your opponent there. So the deck is an OTK, it can be an FTK too, when you're going second. Okay. This is going to be pretty straightforward, I think. So we got 2, a set, or no, 7, 2, a 7, and a 7. Okay. So we want to do our 7s here. Yeah, let's go ahead and do our 7s here because we want to keep the 2 and 7 here so we can do a pendulum summon later. Alright, so we got Veteran and we got Squire here, right? So once you have these guys out, and it doesn't have to be these guys exactly, then we're going to use this effect to search for a level 4 or lower fire warrior from our deck. Or where is it? Yeah, it's a fire warrior. So we are looking for, where is it? Right here, Sublimation Knight. We're gonna look for Sublimation Knight. Next, we're going to summon Sublimation Knight. Normal summon it, activates effect. We're going to grab a Squeak Knight. And we are going to activate the effect of Squeak Knight to... Maxi? I don't care about Maxi. Maxi is the one hand trap you don't have to worry too much, unless they draw into like Ash Blossom, in which case you'd just be sad. Alright, we're going to put it right here. We do not activate the effect. It is optional. We do not want to make it a tuner. I'm going to use Draw Muscle to target our Squeak Knight right now. So, alright, we got Summoner's Art. I don't know if we need that or not. And because I think we are just ready to combo off here. So we are going to play Isolde, Two Tails of the Noble Knights, by using these two warriors. Alright, so we're going to use Isolde's effect. We're going to add a warrior monster from our deck to our hand. We cannot activate its effects for the rest of the turn, so... what do I want here? I'll play Ignite Gallant, I guess. It doesn't really matter too much. If we didn't have Summoner's Art or another Ignite, we definitely would go for an Ignite that whose scale is different from our other Ignite card. So, that being said, we are going to activate Isolde's ability here. We're going to toss one card. We're going to toss Telekinetic Charging Cell to the graveyard. We are going to next play Infernoble Knight Reynolds. So we are going to set that. We're going to activate its ability because a special summon we can target a equip spell from our graveyard to our hand. It's crazy to see this card because I haven't seen it since like Duelist Genesis. It's wild. Alright, so next, what is the next step here? The next step now is we are going to do a pendulum summon. So let's go and do this. Let's do 2 over here, and we're going to do a 7 over here. And you know what? Before we do that, I'm going to play Summoner's Art as well. I'm going to play Summoner's Art, and I'm going to grab. Do I want Ignite Margrave? Let's grab another Gallant, I guess. Okay. Okay, let's go and Pendulum Summon. Make sure you don't hit the activate button. Alright, so let's grab these two guys. Alright, so we got 2 of these monsters on board. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use the effects of our Ignites here. And we're going to find another Infernoble Knight Reynolds. Alright. Let's place. We're going to special summon this guy. It's going to be defense position. Okay. So, now we have some options here. Let's see here. We're going to go to Huggy Fibrax next. So let's go ahead and do Huggy Fibrax. We're going to go and use Isolde. And we're also going to use Infernoble Knight Reynolds. Alright, we're going to use Huggy Fibrax's ability. We're going to grab Righty Driver. And we're going to put that there. Okay, so next step is we are going to Synchro summon our Road Warrior. We're going to almost always have the right combination of monsters right here. Alright, so put this in attack position. Put it here. Alright, so next up, we are going to use Road Warrior's ability to grab Cyber-Stein. I'm going to put that in defense position. Alright, so next thing we want to do here is we want to let's go ahead and link into Reprodocus. You know what? Hold on. I'm gonna activate Cyber-Stein's ability first. We are gonna first go into Crystal Bell, I think. Alright, so now we will go into Reprodocus. So I'm going to do Squire and Hunky Fibrax next. So we get Reprodocus here. We're going to activate its effect. Alright, we're going to declare one monster at a type, and that is going to be Psychic. This is very important to get right. Psychic. So Cyber-Stein is now a Psychic type. Neat. Alright, so from here on out, I can special summon as much as I want, basically. I will need to slap the telekinetic charge cell on it first, because I kind of forgot to do that. Alright, so now we're going to activate this a billion times. So, let's see here, we are going to summon out... We're going to summon out 1000 Size Restrict. And here's where we're going to actually summon out Apollo first. We're going to use Reprodocus, use as materials, 1000 Size Restrict, World Warrior, who's done his job already, who's a beefy 3k beater. I'm going to bring out Apollo. Alright, so next we are going to... Yeah, we're going to bring out some of our level 10s. These guys do have relevant abilities, because they can blow up some of our opponent's monsters. So let's see. Alright, let's see. With these guys here, we're going to grab out number 35, Ravenous Tarantula. Let's set that in defense. See that massive attack and defense boost right here, and we're not even done yet. Let's see. We're going to bring out Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. Alright, so we are going to grab Dingirsu next. Sorry, I dazed off for a second here. Let's see, we're going to go into Dingirsu. Alright, so next we're going to activate Cyber-Stein's ability again. We're going to go into Naturia Exterio. It's one of the last couple of pieces we need to bring out. And last but not least, we are going to bring out Last Warrior from Another Planet. And that goes right over here. We're going to use Dingirsu's effect so that our monsters don't get destroyed. Well, it doesn't really matter what you toss, I don't think. Toss that, and we are pretty much done here. The telekinetic cell gets destroyed at the end phase. So good luck to our opponent trying to deal with this board state. As a pot, we can negate that with Exterior pretty easily. Doesn't really matter what you toss, do that. Yeah, Naturia Exterio is pretty nuts. Negates all spell or traps, basically. Our opponent's going to try to activate, and we're going to negate all of them. Apollo is going to negate every monster effect at least once per chain. extremely difficult to get around. Our opponent can't crack this with kaijus because they can't summon monsters with Last Warrior from another planet. And it seems like they're trying to do giant. This bot's trying to do giant ballpark stuff. Let's see. I'm just gonna do this. And then we have Ravenous Tarantula on top of it all, which is crazy. Just boosting up the attack of all monsters. So even if they haven't beaten big monster, they're gonna need something bigger than this. Yarigeki, we're just gonna keep negating that. Let's see. Toss this away. How many cards did our opponent draw? We could have like decked them out. Dang. So many cards they discarded. It's crazy. Alright, we're going to change the attack position, and we're simply just going to go to battle. Tarantula here. We're not really concerned about any of these traps unless they're counters. Let's see. We're just going to banish that. Negate that effect. Goki pull. Sure. Why not? We can negate it. And you see Apollousa attacks like 7,400. It's pretty insane. That means they can negate a lot of different effects. Alright. So no Goki pull for them. Now we're going to smack with Exterio for 7,800. And as you see, our attack's decreasing because the difference between our life points is not as great anymore. And we're just going to let Cyber-Stein take care of the job. And that's pretty much it when you go uninterrupted. Except our opponent drew a ton of cards, but there's no way they could have cracked that. Alright, so that's the deck right there. I can try showing it off in an actual duel right here. Let's see here. We'll go here. We'll need to change my decks. Yeah, I know some people are trying to figure out how to run this deck because there aren't, like, I think many guides or videos on this, which is why I decided to highlight this video for everybody. Alright, so let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. Any disruption is going to just destroy us. I'm mostly amazed at how almost unbreakable the combo is if left unchecked. We're going seconds, and that's not a good sign. I think our opponent's going to have some sort of interaction. Okay, so we have one Ignite, and we have all these other cards in here. So we're gonna need Summoner's Knight to grab, or Summoner's Arc, excuse me, to grab another Ignite. Maxi is not really gonna do anything. Oh, that's nice. We actually already have the Sublimation Knight, so that's very cool. Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're going to actually use Summoner's Arc first. Okay, so the Ash here, that is fine. Them ashing there is okay. We will reinforcement the army. No disruption here this time, so we're gonna grab ourselves. Let's see which one we want. Let's grab ourselves Ignite Crusader. Well, we did get Sublimation Knight already, so that is very cool. We are going to actually just summon this guy now. There's no reason, I don't think. Yeah, no reason we can't just summon it. So yeah, we're just gonna normal summon this guy. Yoink. Bring this guy out. We're gonna go grab Squeak Knight. Here it is. Squeak Knight. Slap it there. Activate Squeak Knight's effect. Special summon. Defense position. Don't activate the effect. Let's see. Don't need to use Draw Muscle just yet, so we're going to special summon our Isolde next. We're going to do this. So we summon Isolde. Use the effect of Isolde. We're going to go and grab... let's see. Add it to our hand, right? Yes, so... we'll grab pretty much any of the Igknights here. So, let's go and grab, what's in our hand right now? Let's go grab Squire. Why not? Because we can. Alright. Let's see. Next, with Isolde's ability, we are going to toss the kinetic cell, telekinetic charging cell, toss that to the grave. We're going to grab Reynold here, put in defense position, activate the effect, grab, charging cell. Okay, next we do need to do, I think, some pendulum summoning here. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's see here. Yeah, so let's do this. We are going to do Crusader. Nope. We're going to do Templar. Yes. Nope, we're going to do that. Use them to... okay, use this effect. We're going to search for another one. Another Ignite here. This Ignite is going to be... let's see, Squire. So that's Squire. It's a 7. So let's see. We want a 2. That's a 7, 7, 7. So we need a 2. This is going to be a Gallant. Let's get Gallant. How about that? Really doesn't matter too much. Okay. So next thing we want to do is we want to scale here. Oh, I'm going to hate having to right-click on this constantly. Okay, so we got that right there. I know there's ways to fix the settings so that they won't prompt every single time. Alright, so next step... whoopsies, my bad. I meant to click here. Pendulum summon now. I'm glad our opponent is just like letting us go through this. Set. Okay. Next, we will use the effect of Squire. Excuse me. Blow it up. Let's grab another Reynold. Yoink. Alright. Very cool. Activate the effect of Reynold. Put it here. Defense position. It is now treated as a tuner, which is not a triggered effect. So let's see. We're now going to get Halki Fibrax. So let's go ahead and toss away Isolde and our Infinite for Noble Knight. Let's go ahead and put it here. It doesn't really matter too much. The most important thing is putting Cyber-Stein right below one of the extra monster zones. So, Halki Fibrax, we're going to go and grab Righty Driver. This is going to be right over here. Okay, Next, let's see. We have all the right pieces here. Gosh, we have only so much time to work here. Road Warrior. Sync up. Here. We're gonna put Road Warrior there. Activate the effect of Road Warrior. Cyber-Stein. Grab Cyber-Stein. Put it in defense here. Activate the effect of Cyber-Stein. Let's see. Nope. We are gonna go and grab. Let's grab Thousand Eyes Restrict. Let's put it here. Let's see. Let's go and use Thousand Eyes Restrict's effect. Suck up their monster here that they got. It's gonna be over here. Oh, how fitting! A Millennium Eyes Illusionist. That is hilarious. Okay, now we are going to play Apollo. We're gonna use this as 2 tier. Oh wait, no. Whoopsies. I am sorry. We are not doing that. We are nearly screwed up the combo. We need to do Reprodocus. Okay. Use Halki Firebacks, use Thousand Eyes Restrict, or whatever fusion monster you play is. Bring Reprodocus out. I'm so glad we caught ourselves before we did that by accident. Activate the effect, use the first effect, declare one monster type. Go and click on Psychic, which is going to be at the bottom, which is annoying. There we go. Activate the effect of Telekinetic Charging Cell. Use it here. Alright, Cyber-Stein. Let's start doing our thing with Cyber-Stein. Alright, so let's start bringing out our guys here. We're going to bring out this guy first. Let's go ahead and get Dingirsu out first. Alright, let's activate again. Let's go and get out Starving Venom over here. Let's get Apollo. Okay. Activate the effect. Let's grab this guy. Let's go and grab our other DDD guy. Alright. Big old Tarantula boy. Alright, let's complete the combo. Let's get Naturia Exterio. And let's get Last Warrior from Another Planet. Use Dingirsu's effect. Stop it from blowing up our monsters. And we completed a combo. Dang, our opponent didn't let us attack. That's okay though. See, and that's the deck right there. We fought through an Ash. And that's because our opponent didn't Ash the right thing. There's an important part in the combo where you definitely need to wait until you Ash. If they do it wrong, then we could still break through it. So we fought through it, but it's not always we're going to be able to do it, especially if you're familiar with the combo. For anyone who doesn't know the combo, it's kind of difficult to figure out what the heck's going on early on. But once you know it, it's pretty straightforward. And there's easy ways to counter it. Good players will know how to figure out ways to break that. DD Crow, again, Effect Veiler, Infinite Imperm. Heck, even like what was it, Nibiru at the right time could really just destroy everything. Ash Blossom, a timely one, can destroy it. So pretty neat. The deck takes a while to like go through the motions, especially since we had to constantly X out of the max C prompts and our quick play too. We might as well just toss those away. So it was nice that we still had 2 cards left in our hand, Max C and the quick play spell, should things go wrong for whatever reason. I just can't really think of many ways to actually crack that board state. Our opponent can't activate any spells or traps basically with Exterio on board. They can't summon any monsters, so Kaijus are out of the question to deal with our board. We have Apollo to deal with any monster effects, and if they somehow get a monster on the board, good luck getting through those giant monsters we have on the battlefield, because they're all at least 5k or larger. That's the reason why we use Cyber-Stein's effect, to make our guys beefy as heck. And that's what we did. We OTK'd our opponent right there, which is pretty cool. Not cool for our opponent. So that's the deck right there, in a nutshell. I know that people have been trying to figure out what the deck list is, what the combo lines are, and they're different depending on what your opening hand is, but ultimately your goal is the same. And you guys saw that, right? We opened our hand. Our opening hand was a little different. We had a couple of tutors here and there, but ultimately, we activated the Ignite effect differently because we actually had Sublimation Knight in our opening hand, which was nice. So we used them differently so that we can grab some of the other pieces we needed ultimately in order to get to our special summons. Once you get to the Cyber-Stein part, it's pretty straightforward from there. You just have to go click through the motions. I know that people have been creating bots because of how straightforward the deck can be. Again, this draw muscle is simply a filler card. Same with Upstart Goblin, honestly. They're just cantrips. I just needed some filler cards, really. I just happen to have an Upstart Goblin. If you have another one, you can just throw that in there. Really, instead of these 2 cards, if I had Called by the Grave, which I have right here on my list of cards to produce, I need to remove this card here and actually have this card. Yeah, so I need if you have Called by the Grave, definitely run that in place of Upstart Goblin and draw a muscle here. Because that way you can stop your opponents opposing like DD Crow or Ash Blossom, or they can't stop Infinite Imperm, but they can stop an Infect Failure though, if I believe. So that is pretty neat. Yeah, but Infinite Imperm is the one card you cannot stop, if you're going first. That's just the way it is, and it is possible to fight through it if your opponent negates the wrong effect. But if they stop your Sublimation Knight, oof, yeah, that's pretty much going to be the end of it right there. If you survive another turn cycle, maybe you can get another crack at it, but it's going to be pretty rough, I think. But yeah, the deck is a little fragile, but if left unchecked, again, you can do the crazy things we just did just now. I'm just impressed with how almost unbreakable that board state is. It's crazy. That's why I put the deck together. I put it together before people started like taking notice that people created bots for this deck. I'm not sure if this is the exact card for card, but I believe it's very similar to this right here. Again, the fusion package is going to be a little different, but the Road Warrior, I'll tell you what you need to have in your extra deck here. You need to have Last Warrior from Another Planet. You need to have Naturia Exterio. These guys are your like boss monsters. You need to have Road Warrior. You need to have Dingirsu. You need to have Ravenous Tarantula. You need to have Isolde, Hyperfibrax, Reprodocus. Apollo is not necessary, but is a good monster to have on the battlefield. The rest of the monsters, the fusion monsters, right? We got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different fusion monsters. Thousand Eyes Restrict could be any fusion monster. It really doesn't have to be that one. But I picked it because you can suck up any of your opponent's monsters, even if it's in defense position. Of course, it targets, so if your opponent's thing can't be affected by card effects, then you can't suck it up. But oh well. Most likely, you should be able to trample it over with your big beefy monsters, thanks to your Tarantula. got Starving Venom, Fusion Dragon. Again, this could be like any level 8 fusion monster. Same thing with Crystal Bell. Crystal Bell is handy though because it has this ability where it becomes pretty much any monster that's in your graveyard. Let's see. You can also, same thing with Supreme King Dragon, Starving Venom. Like this could have been another Crystal Bell, honestly, but we decided to run that as well. These need to be level 10 fusion monsters. They're cheap to make because they're just rares, so that's why we have them. So that way they can get into the Ravenous Tarantula, and they have a pretty neat effect in a pinch. You can target again with your opponent's attack position monster, and then destroy it. If you do, inflict damage equal to half its original attack. And it's got some other effects here too, but really, it's kind of like removal on a stick. But really, we're just trying to get into our tarantula here. But yeah, that's the deck right there. That's the deck profile. There's a few cards that can be different here and there, but overall, this is probably what you're going to be seeing. It's pretty consistent. It is pretty darn consistent. These Igknights, all like 20, like half the deck is Igknights, and they can tutor for other like pieces, which is incredible. Like basically 20 tutors with the Igknights alone, and then you have Summoner's Art, so that make that 3 more, and then you have the Infernoble Arm, so that's like, and then Rhoda right here, that's 26 tutors. Like that's crazy. Like that, there's that many like tutoring effects that can ultimately get into your Sublimation Knight, into your was it Squeak Knight that gets you, the Infernoble Knight Reynold, into the getting your righty driver with Halki Fibrax, and then getting to Cyber-Stein. There's just a lot of, it's just crazy that like how consistent it can be. It can get to those lines right there, and that's why it's also cheap to make too. If you notice this right here, right? Like there are very few ultra rares. You don't even need the max C's. Like these are optional. Like you don't. The only ultra rare you really absolutely need is Cyber-Stein in the main deck. Like you don't even need Rhoda or Upstart Goblin if you don't have them. Like everyone gets a free Rhoda, so that's like kind of a given. But you don't even need Upstart Goblin here. That's just not necessary. This Cyber-Stein right here is like the only ultra rare in the main deck. In this extra deck, you will need Halki Fibrax and Isolde. These are the 2 cards you will need to have, and as well as Dingirsu. Sorry. Again, Apollo is not necessary, but really, really nice to have. It could, because of how it can just negate monster effects at once per chain. But yeah, so that's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 ultra rares. Yes, there are some necessary super rares, like these guys right here. You got 3 of these, 3 of the Sublimation Knights. And really, I don't think you need 3 Sublimation Knights. But it is nice to have because if you get in your opening hand, you don't need tutor for it, so it mitigates the issue of being ashed. But yeah, you got 6 of these right here. You have Naturia Exterio and Last Warrior from Another Planet. But so those are that's gonna be like 8 super rares. So minimum 8 super rares and 4 ultra rares. All these other fusion monsters, again, as long as they meet the criteria, this is literally whatever. These just need to be level 8 fusion monsters. These just need to be level 10 fusion monsters. Let's see, and let's see, Reprodocus is rare already. So yeah, everything else is normal or rare. Igknights, look at this. All the Igknights are normals right here. Like, all the Igknights are normal. You got Squeak Knights are normal. Righty Drivers are rare. Like, it's a very cheap deck to put together. It does not take many resources to put together. And honestly, like, investing in Halki Fibrax is pretty good because it's used in a lot of different decks. And Naturia Exterio is kind of a cheeky card that's used in stuff. And even Dingirsu can be used in a decent number of decks as well. So not bad cards to invest in, honestly. Apollo is also a really good card to invest in too if you want. So even if you end up deciding to do something different, at least you get something out of the gems you created. A couple of them are a little gimmicky, like Isolde, but Isolde is used in like several different strategies, not just in like this kind of gimmicky like Ignite Cyber-Stein strat. And Cyber-Stein is, used in different kinds of wonky like OTK strategies too, beyond just this. So if you want to do something different beyond this, then you got Cyber-Stein, but Cyber-Stein is usually the key card for any of these weird decks. I know there's like a Stein like variant of this as well, but it's not as consistent. It's a little slower deck, but It seems a little interesting. I actually do have it together, but I think there could be room for improvement. But yeah, that's the deck profile for this. I call it Cyber-Knights for short, but this is really like Cyber-Stein, Igknights, OTK, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll see you guys next time.